Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the shortness of breath question on the OASIS. And this one is another one that will trip you up if you don't answer it correctly on the front end. Because shortness of breath is one thing that we need to be able to show improvement when we finish the plan of care. And if you rate them too high at the beginning, you're going to have a really hard time scoring them correctly at the end and being able to show that you actually did anything. Now, we all have patients that were short of breath when we started. They're going to be short of breath when we finished. You don't have to make them not short of breath. You just have to be able to show improvement. Okay? So, if you're doing an assessment, you say, Miss Johnson, do you ever get short of breath?
Usually when I walk.
When you walk, okay. So, let's stand up and let's walk a little bit.
Okay. I gotta rest a minute.
Okay, let's have a seat. Let's have a seat. You're getting really tired. Okay, and so you could assess then how long it takes them to recover, how short of breath they got, checking O2 sats, all of those things we normally do. But if you don't answer that question correctly, you're going to find yourself in trouble. So where would we rate Miss Johnson if she got up and walked that little bit and was short of breath? So your options are 0, she's never short of breath. Yeah, that's not true. Okay. So, or a 1, she's short of breath when walking more than 20 feet or going upstairs. Well, we went way shorter than 20 feet. So now we're down to, she's a 2 or a 3. Okay? So a 2 is with moderate exertion. So when she's performing ADLs, walking distances shorter than 20 feet, those type things. And a 3, minimal exertion, talking, eating, just sitting there, she gets short of breath. I tell you a big one to ask to find that out is ask them if they ever get short of breath while talking on the telephone. That's usually when they'll say, oh yeah, if I'm sitting there talking to my sister in Oklahoma, I get really short of breath. Then definitely she's a 3. Okay? So when you score that question, if you say, okay, so Miss Johnson walked about 5 feet and she's short of breath. Okay? It's less than 20 feet, so maybe I want to score her a 2, but what's the likelihood that she's not going to be short of breath when she gets up and walks in 4 to 6 weeks when we're done with her? She's probably still going to be short of breath. She's probably got something going on that's going to make her short of breath. So maybe we should consider scoring her a 3 so that when we're done and we've done teaching on energy conservation, teaching on deep breathing exercises, pursed-lip breathing, those type things. When we've gotten her using her nebulizer correctly or wearing her O2 when she's supposed to, then maybe she's not as short of breath when she gets up and walks to the bathroom, and we can say at discharge, Miss Johnson has gone from a 3 to a 2. She's improved. She knows how to deep breathe, she knows how to relax, she knows how to pause between ADLs so that she's not getting too tired and too short of breath. So that's how we want to make sure we're answering that question. Very rarely are you going to find a patient that is not short of breath when you first go see them. You don't have to get them up and jog them around the block to get them to be short of breath. But little things will tip you off. Little things they do will tip you off. If they're up stirring around and they're telling you, oh, I'm getting tired, I need to sit down, and they haven't hardly done anything, they're probably doing that because they've already began to compensate. And they're going to stop short before they begin to get short of breath. Okay? So that's a good way to tell, I bet this patient gets short of breath, and when I ask the question, she's trying to make herself appear as good as she possibly can. Now, when you score someone a 4, I think technically if they're on O2 all the time, they're a 4. Is that correct, Lynn? Okay. So if you've got a patient that's on 24-hour O2, then they are a 4. And again, you just have to remember, we have to answer these questions correctly, understanding the intent of the question. It's not, oh, well, if they're sitting here at rest and they're on their O2, they're not short of breath at all. I don't see them breathing that hard. That's not how the question is designed. Remember, the key is to answer the question correctly, not what you necessarily are thinking in your head or what you would you would normally go in there and look at and say, patient's not short of breath. Okay, patient's not short of breath. You know, I can't observe patient being short of breath at rest wearing O2. Patient has no labored breathing. That's the kind of things. But when you answer that OASIS question, there are 4 if they're on O2. Okay.
So if they're on oxygen discharge, we're not making any improvement because they're still gonna be 4.
That's right. If they're still on O2 24 hours at discharge, they're still a 4. Is that correct? Yeah. So you know we can't show that improvement on the OASIS. Okay. But if we answer it correct, let's say, Erwinette, you go into a start and you have a patient on O2 and you think, oh, they're a 3. And then somebody comes in behind you and says, oh, patient's on O2, Matt said they have to be a 4, and they're a 4. Now, not only did we not show progress, we've shown a decline, okay? So I'm not singling you out, I'm just saying, you know, anybody can make that mistake, so you just have to think through the question and know. And once you've answered it correctly a few times, you kind of immediately begin to know, you know, yep, that's a 3, you know, yep, that's a 4. You know, I understand, you know, this is how we're supposed to answer this question. But especially if you're not going to be the discharging clinician, you know, answering it correctly on the front end is crucial. Okay. Any other questions?
I want to know, when you guys go through the OASIS and you make your corrections, and you do that 485, do you change the shortness of breath questions if they're on oxygen and nobody picked it up?
We'll send back the M items of all the corrections that we made.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the scrubbers should pick it up, but not always.
Not always.
Any other questions?
Who are the scrubbers?
The shifts
audits.
and the PPS Plus.
But not here, I mean, they're like.
No. It's when you run it, it should give you back an error that, you know, would either suggest you make a change or reevaluate the question or tell you flat out,
Okay.
this won't fly.
A lot of times when they have CHF and you put no shortness of breath, it'll flag you.
Yeah.
It allows you to reassess.
Sure.
Yeah, if you've got a diagnosis of, you know, heart failure, COPD, pneumonia, anything like that, it's gonna flag it if you say they're not short of breath or they're, you know, a 1.
Or a 1.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're not on oxygen, but they can detect the heart failure or coronary artery disease. Is that still a 4?
No, unless they really are. I mean, unless you're sitting there talking to this patient and they're just sitting there at rest, you know.
Three sentence, 3 words per breath or
Right.
something, you know, 4
You know,
words
if
per
they're
breath.
short of breath at rest, whether they're on oxygen or not, then that's a 4. But you know, you could show improvement with that by, you know, teaching them, you know, correct breathing techniques and things like that, making sure they're taking their nebulizers when they're supposed to, you know. So, all right, anyone else?
Thank you.
Uh-huh.